Hi, everyone. Welcome. Again, my name is Blair Embry. I'm the Marketing Communications Manager for Prison Yoga Project, and we are here today to celebrate the work and the impact that we had this year. Before we celebrate, I think it's also really important to acknowledge the duality of our work. We have over 200 programs worldwide in 11 countries, all serving people who are impacted by incarceration. And while all our work is joyful, healing, and it builds community, where we serve is quite difficult and often full of harm and suffering. So while we're gathering here today to celebrate our work, I think it's also important to acknowledge that duality and just taking a moment to also call in all of the participants we serve. I know that the holidays can also be quite a difficult time where people are separated from their families. Often we start these with a centering opportunity. Instead of a centering, maybe just a moment of reflection. You're welcome to come into an embodied space and just thinking of all of the participants and all of the people in our program and just calling them into the room and then calling them into our heart at this time. And maybe 3 breaths together, but on our own time. Coming back to the room. Thanks for joining us in that. Our work at Prison Yoga Project is offering trauma-informed yoga and mindfulness to people who are impacted by the justice system. We offer a framework that is rooted in resilience, transformation, and connection. But let's get into some acknowledgments and impact that we've had for 2024. We built a new website. This website feels like it really connects to the roots of our deeper work, sharing our mission, vision, and values widely as a community. Please, at any time, visit www.prisonyoga.org to read and see more. We have new merch. We also dropped a new sweatshirt today. I'm going to drop the link into the chat. And then if you're listening later, you can also see the link in the description. But this is just one small way you can support Prison Yoga Project. It's often a conversation starter as well. One of our facilitators found out about Prison Yoga Project because Nicole was wearing a beanie. Right. It's such a striking name, and people are always so intrigued and feel magnetized towards the work that we do. So just another kind of conversation starter and one small way you can support PYP. And we would not be able to do this work without our incredible community of facilitators. So as a small gesture and appreciation, we also made a facilitator discount code. I'm going to drop the code into the chat. And please feel free to use this code. If there's anything that you wanted to purchase, it's small, but we wanted to really just acknowledge that we would not be able to do this work without everyone. So again, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being part of the incredible work that we do. But getting on with it, I'm going to invite Kaylee in. Kaylee is going to share some metrics of our impact over the year. Also saw Victor. He's on our board. He just came into the room. Want to give a little shout out to him. And he's been a facilitator for PYP for a long time as well. Welcome, Victor.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Kaylee. I'm our program coordinator here at PYP. I'm going to share my screen just for a moment. Everybody see this? Somebody give me a thumbs up. Awesome. Okay, we're also gonna send this out later as well. My PDF is not being dropped into the chat very well, but don't worry, you can see these metrics later. So first, a huge win this year has been the successful change in how we collect data. This transition to Upshot has been detail-oriented and very different from last year. So thanks to everybody's commitment, We have such a smoother system, and we're really proud of this accomplishment. So thanks again to everybody's commitment in using Upshot. With that, in Upshot, we have had 213 programs this year. So throughout the whole year in Upshot, the number of programs that have submitted data, 213. This is likely lower than what's actually happening. Active programs fluctuate, and this is just going off of the data. We have had 46 new programs this year that have started, and some of these programs have started in Arkansas, Arizona, California, Colorado, Indiana, New York, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Tennessee, Utah, Australia, Canada, France, Portugal, UK, and Brazil. So we have had many new programs. And again, thanks to everybody's commitment in sending us all of these details and uploading these new programs into Upshot. So this is just what is in our data, right? In 2024, we have had almost 53,000 total attendances. This does not include December as well. This is January 1st through November 30th. Last year, we had a grand total of 45,000 at the end of the year. So without December included, already this year, the number of people served, the total attendances has grown 18% since last year. So everybody, round of applause. That's amazing. We have served 864 unique participants, which most of these are our CARES California programs. So what unique participants means, these are programs that upload a roster on Upshot rather than a head count. So our estimation for all of the head count folks as well. So there's so many programs that just upload a head count. So with those included, our estimation is over 1,500 people served this year. We have 196 active facilitators and 40 new facilitators that have joined our community this year. Yay. Yeah, we have trained 174 people, which includes our YTTs, our international in-person trainings, and our mental health staff trainings. Lastly, we have sent 2,300 books to incarcerated individuals. These numbers as a whole represent PYP's work on the ground. And thanks to everybody's time and your commitment, we are so proud of the number of people this community has served. So thank you for contributing to all of these metrics. Without all of you, these numbers do not exist. And this is truly the proof of the work that PYP does. So thank you. Passing it on to Blair, stopping sharing my screen.
Haley, this was so awesome. Thank you. And thank you for including all of the new states or the states where programs were added. I felt like it was one of the songs that you sing in school. I'm like, oh man, these are all the states. This is all the places. So that was so exciting. Thank you. And if you're interested in becoming a Prison Yoga Project facilitator and you have not filled out your application yet, I'm going to drop that into the chat too. We look forward to getting to your application and the process in the new year. And speaking of programs, up next, we have Gabrielle, who is our California program manager.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see everyone here on this lovely Friday. I am a new addition to the PYP team. I started in March and California programs manager. So it took a couple of months to get my sea legs. I spent a lot of time building relationships with program coordinators and the facilitators in California. Amazing group of individuals that are doing this work. So that was really a kind of heart-centered task for me to be able to kind of make those connections. A lot of what I do is really trying to expand what California is already doing. So starting new programs and new institutions and new facilities. So we've done well over 9 new programs launched in institutions throughout the state of California. Also partnership development. So I think it's really important for us to continue to partner with as many organizations as possible that kind of share our visions and missions. Also really centering, BIPOC-led organizations. I think it's important to kind of partner with them, collaborate with them to kind of get their insight on how they're addressing the same kind of issues that we are. So that is another thing that I was doing, visiting a lot of programs, a lot of conferences and events to try to make those connections. And it's been a great year to have built at least 4 or 5 partnerships that we are continuing to nurture, and hopefully, next year they'll continue to flourish. Always interested in doing more. So training and development, really, after doing the process of interviewing facilitators, understanding that there is a need to diversify what we already have. So being able to bring on facilitators that more directly reflect the community that we're serving is also a really big mission that we have at PYP. So I'm really happy to kind of spearhead that. Future goals are really to continue to expand. We have a really big interest in doing a lot of community-based or partnerships, and also working within more women in institutions and facilities. So that's definitely a big highlight that we're wanting to do. And of course, continuing to kind of build and further expand our diversity initiative at the same time. So that's kind of what we're doing for this year coming in, and I'm super happy to be on the team and to continue to kind of build and be a part of this team. Back to you, Blair.
Thank you so much, Gabrielle, for sharing the work and the impact that you've done. And I definitely know that you hit the ground running, and we are so grateful to have you here. California comparatively is also population, GDP. It's basically a country, comparatively. So we see the huge task ahead and that you've been chipping away at. So thank you so much for centering all of our programs and facilitators in California. And we're so grateful to have you. Up next, we have Nicole B. Nicole B is one of our amazing regional coordinators, and we have joined her in to share a little bit about her work and maybe even some history with PYP. We also know that she did our yoga teacher training. Before I invite Nicole B in, just real quick, someone who is missing from this call today because she's offering programs is our yoga teacher training, Jen. So I just wanted to call her energy and her name into the room. And Nicole B got connected with us through Jen. So Nicole B, your turn.
Hi, Blair. Sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole. I'm the East Coast Regional Coordinator. I came on in June. And just the fact that I get to work with PYP means a lot to me. I did do PYP's YTT, like Blair said, and I did it while incarcerated. I was reading an article about PYP in Yoga Journal, and it was discussing the YTT behind the walls. And I said, why can't New Hampshire do this? So I photocopied that article and began arguing with everyone in power about why we needed it. And Jen actually came into our facility to volunteer, and the chaplain asked me to meet her. So I walked into the meeting with the article and introduced myself. And I said, we need someone consistent, someone who's not scared of us. And I need you to tell me that you can do this. And handed her the article. And Jen started helping in my fight. And every time they gave me a reason why we couldn't do it, why it wouldn't work, I gave them a way to get around their excuse. and they finally agreed to it. And I graduated the first ever YTT Behind the Walls in New Hampshire. I was released almost 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years on February 1st. And when I got to connect with Jen after getting out, the first thing I said was, I want to work for PYP. And now here I am, and I'm going to cry, so I don't really want to talk anymore. Thanks, Blair.
Nicole, I'm crying too. Thank you so much. I have not had the opportunity to hear your story from you. And the way that you fought, your impact continues inside the prison, inside the ability to continue to bring yoga teacher trainings inside. And for people who are wanting to continue to take our yoga teacher training, it's the same exact curriculum that we offered inside for that first prison yoga project training inside. So Nicole, I'm so happy that you are part of this team. We are so grateful to have you, and to be able to make those dreams come true, right? Like your work, you wanted to work for PYP. So thank you. Your work is so important. We have our other regional coordinators on the call too. But again, Nicole, thank you. Your impact continues to grow, and just happy to have you as part of the legacy. I'll also, maybe I'll have Priscilla, because I've got a couple things dropping. Yeah, let me wipe a tear as well. This is just, one of the stories of the incredible impact that I think that our programming has. And again, if you feel called to do this work, or you know that there are other people that are social justice oriented, like yoga, interested in meditation, please come take our training. Our January training is filling up fast. Maybe Priscilla could drop the link into our training as well. But we typically run this twice a year. So if January doesn't work for you, keep your eye out for the June enrollment training, which will probably happen and open in the spring. But our yoga teacher training is also specifically trauma informed, and we recognize the importance of offering trauma informed facilitation rather than just a regular studio yoga. It's so important to teach to who is in the room, and that our yoga teacher training offers and provides all of those skills to be able to walk into any room and facilitate for any person. So again, just calling Jen into the room, although she's not here. She is here in spirit. She is facilitating inside today. So just sending her and her programs love as well. We have our first raffle winner. I got number 23, saw who was on the 23rd in the list. And I think Knowles, you are the winner of our first beanie. I'm going to put it into the chat, and I'm going to also put Priscilla's email address in here. I can't do two things at once today. prisonyoga.org. And so you'll connect with Priscilla. Yay. Okay, great. I'm so excited. You're excited. And then you'll be able to connect with Priscilla and order your beanie. Awesome. Got a couple things happening in the chat. Really nice comments, Nicole. Not sure if you're able to see on your phone as well, but people just really inspired by your share. So thank you. Next is me. We often survey our participants. It's really, measurement and evaluation is really important for nonprofits, program management, data collection, grant writing. And what we hear from our participants over and over again is that they want more yoga. People want more yoga. Sometimes coming in multiple days a week is not always accessible for programs, and we are always trying to expand programs as much as possible. So we wanted to find and look for a way to be able to bring more yoga, more mindfulness to facilities, and offer supplemental training, programming, content offerings. So this year we did a trial run with eDovo. eDovo is an incarcerated learning platform, and it's hosted on tablets available to anyone in facilities that have tablets. One of the reasons why we partnered with eDovo as well is because the content is always free to the end user. Starting from June of this year, we did a trial, and now we have around 30,000 unique participants have engaged with us on our Indovo platform. We're also in over 1,100 facilities on Indovo as well. And we look forward to uploading more content starting in Q1 for everyone to be able to access this. And we really feel like this does not take away from in-person programming. In-person programming will always be the number one priority for us. We recognize how important it is to be in person and do healing, interpersonal healing, community healing through yoga and mindfulness. That will always be our priority. But because there is such a high demand, I think we have a 500 person wait list for some of our programming at some facilities. So we want to be able to get yoga to people and yoga and mindfulness to people now. So this is one of the ways that we wanted to fill that gap, to be able to provide programming or content for people. We also had the opportunity to film more content with previous participants. A few of us flew to San Diego in October to be able to create this. We had 9 models, 7 of which were previous participants. Again, that's just such an important thing for us to align with our mission, vision, and values, is to support people after they've returned in the work that we do. And next we have Priscilla. Priscilla's coming on to talk about our foundational training.
Thank you, Blair. Oh my gosh. Just everyone that has shared so far has filled me with so much joy and so much light. And I'm so honored and feel so fortunate to be a part of this team. It's hard to describe. Yes, our foundational training, that is another training that is available online to anyone who is interested. Excuse me. Our training is a great way to just learn about our mission, our vision, and why we choose yoga for trauma, what trauma is, how it shows up in the body, and why we choose yoga as a form of healing. So if that's something that you're interested in, it is completely self-paced and you can take it at any point. There's no start or end date. So it's really, really, we try to make it as accessible as possible to anyone in any part of the world. We also offer scholarships for the foundational training as well. So please, if the dollar amount is something that gives you pause, please apply for a scholarship, and then you can email me to talk further about that. We also offer workshops for the foundational training. And traditionally, we have offered these workshops a couple times a year. We have 6 workshops that we offer, and we do them on Zoom. But we also realize that some folks either are working or they're in a different time zone, or they need time to just sit on the couch, because also rest is important and is part of the schedule. So we created recorded versions of our workshops, and those are now available on the website as well. And I think those are just it's a great opportunity as well. If you did attend live, or were like, what was that one thing that someone said? Bill said something so incredible and smart, and I want to go back and listen to it. You can always go back to those videos and rewatch them at any time. And you can also rejoin the workshops. You've already taken all of them, but you had time in your schedule. You see there's a workshop available. Come and hang out with us. It is an incredible opportunity to be in community with folks. Each workshop is led by someone who actively facilitates inside. So if you have questions about what that's like, how you take care of yourself before and after going in of a facility, and just any questions about PYP at all, that is another wonderful opportunity to get those questions answered. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Priscilla. I am pumped up. This is really exciting. Like having to manage my energy here a little bit. It's just incredible to hear our impact and then to be here together as a community. I'm going to bottle it up and I'm going to save it for January for when we come back, we can hit the road running. So again, just once more, just thank you so much for being here, being part of this work. And the foundational training is how I got involved with Prison Yoga Project. during the pandemic, I had spaciousness, as I think maybe some of us had also the privilege of space to be able to contemplate our lives or to be able to create a new direction. And I knew that this is the work that I wanted to do. I reached out to Prison Yoga Project. I said, hey, are you going to make a digital version of your training? And they said, let's get back to you. And they did. And they said, hey, the training is up. We've moved it to a digital virtual platform. I did the training and I was so moved. I know it's my job to talk about how great our program is, but I was so moved by our foundational training. And Bill was leading primarily the training at the time. So I reached out to him. I sent an email. I remember praying over the email, being like, okay, no is an acceptable answer. Like, no is okay. And I remember reaching out and I was like, do you have anyone doing your marketing and communications? And he said, actually, right now we don't. This was 4 years ago. And so we've come all this way since, and it's just incredible. And again, one of the founders and creators of our foundational training is Bill Brown, and he is up next. So Bill, it's your turn. Thanks.
Wow. I really don't even, it's hard to know where to start. And I guess, well, thanks, Blair. Thank you. And I can remember very clearly the very first workshop that you showed up with and the intensity of your presence in that. And boy, was I intimidated. And I hope it just helped to raise the level. And I'm so glad that you're a part of the team. And I'm so glad that everyone who is, I'm looking at the names on this call and I recognize the majority of all of the names. And it's amazing to see how this has grown in the time that I've been involved. I got involved because I went to one of our foundational trainings back in 2012. I think it was at the beginning of 2013. James had come to my yoga teacher training in 2012. We did a workshop in 2013. And before the end of the year, I was going into a federal facility here in San Diego, California. And it's been such an amazing, life-changing decade plus now. I've seen so much change in that time. And, the short form of our mission statement right now is healing over punishment. And what we are really looking for is a cultural shift in how we address the social issues that are often met with punishment, incarceration in particular. And I see so many examples of that cultural shift happening. And it feels like it's gaining momentum and increasing. One of the signals that I see is the increasing number of people who are former participants who are now released into the community and part of Prison Yoga Project and going and keeping that healing moving forward. I know that we've got multiple examples of people whose lives have been changed by this work, encountering it on the inside of a correctional facility, who are now bringing that out into the community and also back into correctional facilities. So we're seeing that cycle happening. In the last couple of years, we've done an increasing focus on educating and training staff, which I think there's a particular moment that's happening, greater recognition of the impact of trauma throughout the system and the necessity of addressing that first has changed the way the system is thinking. And we have, losing my train of thought there just for a second, changing the way that the system is thinking. Oh, and there's also a greater recognition of how harmful the system can be for those people who are working in it as well. And one of the ways that we've been able to, I think, start to address that, as well as create a more trauma-informed mindset throughout the facilities, is by bringing training to mental health teams. We've done that at a couple of prisons here in California, and that is going to grow and expand in 2025 and beyond. And then tomorrow I get to go in and we're celebrating a peer facilitator training that we just wrapped up in RJD. And I'm making cheesecakes tonight to bring into the guys for the party that we're having. But they have already started chair programs because it's a way of us being there. Having yoga available, not us being there, having yoga available to the whole community on a regular basis, and also take some of the pressure off the mental health staff there that's overwhelmed. We're actually partnering with mental health to help bring those programs in. So this is really incredible shift that I'm seeing that has taken place in the environment there. And that's what we really, I think, as we chip away towards a whole society that is focused on healing over punishment, that this is a significant step forward that we've been able to manage. And I think I'll leave it at that. I'm really inspired by everything that I'm seeing and hearing from all of you. So thanks for sharing your energy with me in this. And Blair, I'll pass it back over to you.
Thanks so much, Bill. And thank you for starting the peer facilitation program. We did a longer podcast about this earlier in the year, talking about prison hospice program. Being in prison ages you 2 times faster than being just a person on the outside. And it's also considered in prisons, I think the number's 55 is geriatric. So there is a rising population of aging happening in prisons. And some of the most requested programming and education and programs is for accessible programs, accessible chair yoga. And that was one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we provided, and Bill really led the charge on that. So thank you, really being able to offer yoga to everyone. And then we have up next James Fox, who is our founder, who started programming in San Quentin over 20 years ago. So James, come on in, and so excited to hear from you today. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Some of you I've never met before, but I want to start by thanking you. Thanking you for whatever it is that you do for Prison Yoga Project. And aside from what you do for Prison Yoga Project, thank you for what you do in your life to relieve the pain and suffering of others. I really appreciate that. So my part today is to give you an overview of our international work. And I want to start by saying that the international work started and continues by invitation. It's not that I or we set out years ago to develop international programs. What happened is that people started reaching out to us, some of them after having taken our training and wanting to start a program in their country. And that's how it got started. And in that regard, if you don't already know this, Josephine Wickstrom is our director of European programs, and Josephine is in Sweden. And she has a tremendous influence on our program development. Sorry about that. She teaches many programs in the prison in Sweden, and she's had a significant influence on our developing our mental health approach because of the work that she's doing. And Josephine and I are the ones who lead programs in Europe together. So also I wanted to touch just on United Kingdom and particularly England and Wales. So since 2021, we have been training PE staff in the UK prison system to bring trauma-informed yoga to incarcerated people there. And we've done a total of 6 trainings, and that's been a very successful proposition for us. Also wanted to mention France and Portugal, which are growing programs for us. Both of those countries have their own nonprofits set up as does the UK. We have Prison Yoga Project UK has its own nonprofit. Prison Yoga Project France has its own nonprofit. And we work through an established nonprofit in Portugal that essentially is for Prison Yoga Project, but it's called Almaz. And one of our added countries this year, a very large and significant country, is Brazil. So Brazil has just been added as a Prison Yoga Project program in the last few months. And last but not least, and particularly since Luisa is with us, Luisa Perez is our program director, our director for Prison Yoga Project Mexico. And I want to use Mexico as an example to give you an idea of the depth that somebody who takes a Prison Yoga Project training takes it and runs with it. So Luisa and I have been working with each other since 2017, and she established Prison Yoga Project Mexico. And at last count, and there's probably more, and Luisa can correct me on this if she wishes, but last count, we were in 10 facilities, and we have 13 active yoga facilitators serving those 10 facilities in addition to Luisa. And another remarkable thing about the program in Mexico is that Luisa has done restorative justice training, and she started a restorative justice program that is employing former San Quentin program participants of mine who got deported to Mexico and are working with Luisa in doing restorative circles inside the prisons that are connected with our yoga programs. So that's just one example, one small, huge example of the impact that Prison Yoga Project is having and the impact that you're having. And Luisa, if you want to add anything to that with a minute of time, please feel free to do so.
Thank you, James. No, all you're saying, it's perfectly right. And I would just want to add that in the restorative circles that we do with men in 2 federal prisons, one maximum security, the other are medium, we also do victims panels. And that's amazing considering the levels of violence in Mexico and how the enforced disappearance is very serious phenomena, problem, crimes. And so that's the kind of conversation. The victims, we bring them there because the guys we work with were part of the cartels responsible.
So I want to end just by mentioning, okay, so we're launching our end of year fundraising campaign. And for a lot of people, fundraising can be a daunting task. I try to simplify it as much as I can. And I try to tell people about the passion that I have for this work. And I can tell pretty quickly if somebody is open to it or not. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to hear about incarcerated people. But nonetheless, because I believe in the work that we're doing, I like to share it with people. And you never know who you share it with, who may know somebody else who may have the means to donate to Prison Yoga Project. So I encourage you to take a look at your family of friends and relationships and contacts and see if there's anybody that you would like to share with them how you feel about the work that you're doing and because we're all advocates for destigmatizing the way prisoners are usually looked at, the way incarcerated people are usually looked at. We are all advocates because we have the rare opportunity and the privilege to go in and to work with people who are incarcerated. So we understand that they deserve human dignity. We are not only are we bringing the healing power of yoga to people, we're building relationships, we're building trust, we're bringing the aspect of human dignity to people. And this is something that I encourage all of us to share with our friends and contacts that we have on the outside. So with that, I'll pass it back to Blair.
Thank you so much, James. Your words are just ringing and echoing in the room and in my body. We are the bridge, the privilege that we get to walk in and out of a prison first, right? Also without being harassed. Their family members and loved ones don't get the same privilege as us of being able to walk in and walk out. And we are the bridge. We get to share stories. We get to come from the outside and bring our work in. And then we get to come back out and share about the meaningful, important work that we're doing. And James, thank you so much. I know that this was something that you felt so called to start and do over 20 years ago. And look how it's grown and how it's just going to continue to grow. I think that, I don't want to speak for everyone here, but maybe I can. I think that we're all just so grateful to be part of the legacy and the work. And just an additional thank you for listening. Not everyone listens to their call. Not everyone says yes to their call, no matter how big or how scary or how intimidating. And your yes allowed all of us to have such a great impact. So just wanting to really call that out and thank you. Thank you for your yes. Yeah. And next we have our executive director, Nicole H.
Thanks, Blair. I was just thinking how maybe next time just start off with me so then everybody else can shine. I don't know that I can put a bow really on what everybody has already shared other than just offer deep appreciation for our team, for all of you. Particularly this week, I'm coming off of an emergency root canal from Monday, and then lots of no sleep. So very minimal sleep, and just lots of grant deadlines. And so being here with you all, hearing the impact of our year in this 1 hour means everything, right? Especially in challenges. And we really wouldn't have been here without our whole team. So just want to thank everyone. I want to shout out Sonia as well in Australia. I want to make sure she's not on the call today, but acknowledge the many programs that they have there. And she's top of my mind because we'll be applying for a women's grant early in January. And I was just reading some of their data along with the study that Louisa did in partnership with Yoga Alliance. So wanted to make shout outs there. Also, before I jump in sort of talking about the goal for next year, there's a few other things I wanted to add. One being Kaylee mentioned that we believe we've served about 1,500 unique individuals. And that's true if you look at Upshot and we do very minimal math. So the way that we currently estimate the number of people we serve is by taking the maximum number of people that we know we've served in each program and then adding that all up. Right. But I'll give you an example about why that's a super low estimation. And likely we've served well over 5,000 or more individuals this year. So for example, I have a really big yoga class. I serve like 80 men every week. I did not serve those same 80 men throughout the year. This rotated several times because I provide programming at a jail. But when I take the max number, I'm taking 80 because with integrity, that's how much we can say without having a roster. So I just wanted to reiterate that it's the less fun math stuff. But if any of you have a super math brain and want to help me come up with a formula to even better predict the number of people we're serving, I welcome that. But I just wanted to add that little caveat there because we want to tell the truth. We want to be honest about our data, but we don't have a roster for every jail program. Many of you are inside and you know what it's like. We're not even allowed. So we've served a lot of people this year. And I also just wanted to shout out Jen, as Blair mentioned, she's not here today. And that's because one, she led a yoga teacher training in person in the New Hampshire Women's Correctional Facility. And on top of that, she developed a different type of program this year, which is a correspondence YMI. So what we what that has allowed her to do is offer our curriculum to folks that live very far away, where we couldn't realistically provide an in-person program every week, that she transitioned to once a month. So 2 cohorts are graduating in New Hampshire because of Jen. And I just wanted to name that. So to kind of wrap it all up and just really share where we're going next year, it feels important to acknowledge just my gratitude for being in this position of executive director. I've been with Prison Yoga Project since 2018. Bill took a bet on me, got to spend a couple of days with him in San Diego, seeing all of our programs. And since then, this job has been a dream come true. And my goal is to really take everything that we've built all these years and run with it next year. Even though we're serving so many people, we have not even scratched the surface on how many people that are incarcerated in the United States alone, let alone globally. And we really believe in the programs that we're doing. And we know that we can have a farther reach with all of that. And so that's really the goal of next year. I'll give an example with our yoga and mindfulness immersion program. We utilize it in California state prisons. And as I mentioned, as a correspondent in New Hampshire, but we want to see that in other states, reaching more populations. We will have a graphic novel. I'm scared to jinx it, Blair, every time I say by this quarter, because it's been a long process securing the right artist, but we will have a graphic novel that is meant to serve youth who are incarcerated and explain the benefits of yoga and how their mind works. Oh, Veronica, your reaction's like giving me chills. I'm so happy. But again, the goal is to take something like that and send it to as many people that need it. And so we have some youth programs operating right now. We want to have many youth programs happening next year. Really, our strategic plan is comprised of 5 major goals, and I'm going to highlight them in a non-boring way, really, really high level. And that's 1, deepening our impact in California. We see California as the impact, or as the example of what we can do across the country and globally because of the resources the state of California provides for our programming. And so we want to continue at the prisons that we're serving, expand, and we really hope to provide more programs to women as well in the state of California. And as Gabrielle mentioned, we have some ways and plans for doing that. Our second goal is to take what we're doing in California and see that be replicated in other states. So as many of you know, we have programs throughout the United States, and we want to see those programs expand. We want to go deeper with curriculum, and we want to have longer term contracts with other prisons to, as I said, replicate what we've done in California. We really think the graphic novel and creative solutions like the YMI correspondence program are ways that we can do that. Our third goal is just to continue to run our trainings at an extremely high level and continue to find resources so we can scholarship folks into our trainings. Our yoga teacher training is incredibly diverse. We welcome a lot of returning citizens. We welcome correctional staff, people from all different types of backgrounds and experiences. And we want to continue to be able to do that, as well as provide more training for mental health staff in prisons. Our fourth goal is James and I really hitting the ground running in Blair on building our donor pipeline. And so we've relied for a really long time on California grants and big foundations to meet our goals. We want to keep diversifying that so we can continue to do this work for years to come. And we do really believe in paying facilitators to do this work. We love our volunteers, and we will always support volunteers who want to do this, but we want contracts with facilities and support from foundations that show that the world is committed to this change to a healing-centered approach to addressing the challenges that we face. And lastly, oh man, I almost spaced out on the fifth goal. Oh, it's because it's like the one that y'all don't see, but everything we're doing behind the scenes all the time, like our operations, making sure everything is running smoothly from HR to accounting. It takes so much work, and you don't see the amount of work that our team is really doing. So just another shout out to them for everything we've done, but we want to run nice and smooth. And part of that is the surveys that we'll invite you to do next year with your participants, so we know our programs are running really, really well. And so 2025 is just like, go big. right? Take this amazing team that we've built this year. You met Nicole. We have 2 other amazing regional coordinators, Betsy and Julia. We have Delaney on the team now, who supports program inquiries and interviews. We built the team this year. I got my feet wet in this role. Bill transitioned into a role that has allowed him to develop so much more content and curriculum. So we're ready to go. And we can't do it without you. So thank you for being a part of this and for what you'll continue to do. The deep bows, the hearts, it means so much, but we're really excited. And if anybody likes strategic plans, feel free to email me. I'll send it to you if you would like to read all the words. But I will, with that said, pass it back to Blair.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I am pumped up. This has been so incredible to really just see only the tip of the iceberg of our impact and come together and celebrate this. Nicole talked about our scholarships. Over the past 2 years, we have given over $270,000 worth of scholarships to our yoga teacher training program. 70% of the people that take our yoga teacher training are previously incarcerated or system impacted. I feel like these numbers shows us that we walk our talk. We want to put our money, our time, our investment into the people who have been most impacted by incarceration and people who want to serve, people who want to go back to their communities and offer trauma-informed yoga and mindfulness. I hope that this was an opportunity for you to celebrate the work that we did. Maybe if you're listening or if you're on the call, maybe this has energized you to start a program or join a program. We'll have all of the links available in this episode. You can find everything, hopefully your heart desires, on our website as well. But thank you again. Hopefully your community will also feel called to donate. Please share our work. There's so many ways that you can get involved and support Prison Yoga Project. But thank you again to our team. Thank you to our leaders. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today.
And Blair,
yeah,
I'm so sorry. I forgot to shout out Georgia. And I'm looking at you right now, Georgia, and want to thank you as well. She's a teammate, their teammate too. And thank you. Sorry, Blair.
No, I think that's actually a great call-in. Georgia has joined us as a mentor, and here's another opportunity just to talk about the benefits of joining Prison Yoga Project as a facilitator. We recognize that often this work is done alone or done in a silo, and the work is, again, rooted in that duality. It is so joyful and so meaningful and full of suffering. And sometimes even our partners, parents, our family don't always understand the work that we do. And so providing mentorship, providing community opportunities, providing podcasts and webinars is an opportunity for us to, again, weave community and really feel like we have a united front in prioritizing healing over punishment. Again, we are Prison Yoga Project, and thank you so much for being here today.